Hello guys, welcome. On today's tutorial we are going to look at this math problem on geometry, right? Good. So we have a figure that has two lines that are parallel. That's this line L and this line M, and then they want us to find the measure of the angle X. So if you look at this figure, you are going to see that line L and line M are parallel. However, there is another line that is what transversal to what the two parallel lines, and then there is definitely an intersection, right? Good. So the first intersection give us an angle of 65 degrees, and then the second intersection give us the angle X degrees, right? So now the first intersection is on the line L, and then the second intersection is on the line M, right? Good. So now by looking at this, we have different relationships that can help you define angles in geometry, right? Good. Now we have 65 here. If there were another angle here, we can say this 65 is equal to this 65 because they are actually what corresponding, right? Good. So if maybe this X degrees is actually here, we can say, okay, this X is actually equal to this value because they are corresponding. However, we can also look at alternate relationship in that we have an angle here, which is at the lower part, and then we also have an angle here. So if these were the two angles in question, we can say they are equal because of their relationship, right? Good. But note that we have the 65 degrees here, which is on the right hand side, and then we have the X degrees here, which is on the left hand side, at the intersection of the two parallel lines. So for us to find the value of X, we need to come to this first line, which is line M, right? Good. Now when you look at it, there's a straight line, which is the parallel line, and then you know that angle on a straight line is equal to 180, right? Good. So this definitely means that if this transversal line that cuts across the two parallel lines with attention focused on L, we are going to see that there is a 65 degrees angle here, and then we can definitely get the remaining angle here, right? So let's get a calculator. Now we know that angle on a straight line is 180, so we have 180 degrees there, and then we have 65 here, right? Good. So we need to subtract 65 from that 180 degrees, so we have 65. So it will now give us the remaining angle on the left hand of what the transversal line that intersects L, right? Good. So what does that give? That gives us 115, right? Good. Now this 115 is the angle at this side. Now when you see the angle at this side and then you look at X, you can see that they are actually what corresponding, right? Good. And then in geometry, corresponding angles are equal. So if we now say this side is 115, we can also say this side is also 115, which means that the angle here at X is actually what 115, because angle on a straight line is equal to 180, and then this other part or this other angle that intersects L is 65, which means the supplementary angle will now be 180 minus 65, which is 115. So 115 and X are actually what corresponding. So they are actually corresponding because they are on the left hand side of what this transversal line that cuts across the two parallel lines. So this means that the value of X in this particular figure is what 115. So if we come to the options that are available, that's for option C, right? Good. So the correct answer for this particular question is what? Option C. So if you find this video interesting, you can give it a thumbs up, and then you subscribe, you share it with your friends, and then you always check back for new tutorials like this. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.